Lynn Painter, I know what you're thinking, okay? I know what you're thinking. I already gave Lynn Painter her last chance, and I did, specifically for her adult books now. I did like the YA that I read from her, which was better than the movies, but I liked it a lot. It was fun. And in general, people have great things to say about her YA, and I felt that her YA was so different than her adult books, and I preferred the YA. So I went ahead and read another one of the YA, The Do-Over by Lynn Painter. This book I maybe wouldn't have picked up, except that my book club was reading it, so I was also reading it. This follows Emily and, oh god, what was his name? Zach? Nick, sorry. So this follows Emily, the main character, who it's Valentine's Day. She's so excited because she's like gonna tell her boyfriend that she loves him. She's a very like planner person. She has like a really amazing gift for him, and then Valentine's starts and everything is going wrong. Every single thing. There's not a single thing that goes right. Everything is going wrong. Everything is bad. You know, her boyfriend is like potentially cheating on her, and she like totals her car, and her dad's gonna move out of the state, and blah blah blah. She goes to her grandma's house that night and goes to sleep, and the next day she wakes up in her bed and it's Valentine's Day again. So this is a time loop story, a little Groundhog Day, if you will. The day continues over. I think we hear 3, if I'm not mistaken, variations of the day, and then there's like a little montage type thing of like, she's like, I tried this. Then we have the Day of No Consequences, which, would you believe, spoilers, by the way, this is spoilers, is the final day. It's the last day of the loop, is the Day of No Consequences, which if you have 2 brain cells, you could have found out, you would have inferred that that would be the last day. It was like the most classic, predictable thing that you can imagine. And I'm thinking it was kind of unrealistic because she made it sound like, I've tried everything, but she didn't really make it seem like she had been in that many loops, like maybe 10 or something. She didn't say how many she had done. And once things started, like, she was just being dumb from the beginning of this, like, okay, so the Day of No Consequences, she just, like, decides to do whatever the hell she wants. And previously she had fixed some of the things that were going wrong in some of the days. Like, in fact, the day before, I think it was, she had fixed, like, almost everything. And then the day reset again. And in my mind, it's like, okay, girl, just do those things again. I don't know. I wouldn't risk it. I mean, this is like her life is on the line. But she just did dumb stuff from the jump. And I'm thinking from the moment that her dad's Corvette or whatever was impounded, I would have stopped right there. I'm not death. I would have stopped the Day of No Consequence. I would have been, okay, let me go to school and be a good little girl for the rest of the day because you won't catch me doing anything else bad. Her dad's beloved car was impounded. And she just like, was like, let me pay a hooky. Girl, alright. I did not like that. The Day of No Consequences, and if you go through the Goodreads reviews of this, like, you'll see many people saying this, like, yeah, didn't really like the Day of No Consequences. Well, would you believe it was like 50% of the book? It wasn't that much, but it was like a huge percent of the book was that day. And it sucked. It was just like, okay, Nick was also fine, but he was very like, okay, this is not a 16 or 17-year-old boy. Like, some of the stuff he said, it was like, this is not real. The stuff they did together, like, I was not interested in it. I was like, okay, just, like, go back to school. Whatever. Like, you're ruining your life right now. And also, I understand that she had time to fall in love with him during the course of these repeating days, but he did not have any time to fall in love with her. They kind of made it sound like he might have already really liked her. But that was, like, a very feeble attempt at that. Just because, like, she pretended like, he pretended like he didn't know her in the beginning. She was like, oh my god, he doesn't know me. And so then she pretended like she didn't know him in one of the next days. And he was like, he knew who she was. And he kind of had mentioned that he, like, you know, he knew who she was. But then at the end, so she does this horrible, horrible day. And then she has to, like, it goes to the 15th. And she has to live out the consequences of these horrible things that she's done. Pretty much he is done with her, And his reasoning for it is really dumb. He treats her like he's like mean to her, and it was just, it didn't make any sense. I mean, it was very high school, if you will say, but it did not have me rooting for them at all. I kind of was thinking, I think I would be fine with him if they didn't get together in the end. And she just like learned a lot of life lessons, because she did grow throughout this book. So yeah, anyway, I just didn't like that. The other thing that bothered me, which once again about the Goodreads reviews, a lot of people really liked this, but there were a lot of Taylor Swift references, including she got a tattoo from Taylor Swift, of some lyrics. I felt like it was way too much. I've talked so many times about like how I hate authors, contemporary authors, using buzzwords. It dates the book so horribly. It's just for like this quick pickup of, you know, like book talk readers. I just hate pop culture references, especially when they like have no bearing. I know there were a couple in Better Than the Movies, but this was a little bit overkill. So much so that I kind of felt like the tattoo, the lyrics were like, I've had a marvelous time ruining everything or whatever. And it kind of felt like she heard those lyrics and then made this whole story surrounding those lyrics. There was just a lot of references, and I was kind of meh about that. I didn't love that. I mean, like, it's not just because it's Taylor Swift. I wouldn't like it if it was anyone, you know. Simply, it wasn't that good. And that's all that I have to say about that. I truly think this is the last chance for Lynn Painter. I don't think I'll be reading any more of her books. I may reread Better Than the Movies someday. I did like that book. But I don't think I'll be reading any of her newer books. I don't really recommend this one. It did feel like a story that's been done a lot of times. However, that's coming from somebody who doesn't generally like gravitate toward and love YA. I read it here and there. Some of them I really like. Some of them I really don't like. But just in general, there's some things about the genre that just grind my gears. That's all I have to say about that. Not a huge fan. Don't really recommend it. It's unfortunate. It's sad. Lynn Painter stands. Please do not come for me.